all right? So let's quickly talk about this. These are the newly, freshly preserved hearts, all right? So there's 6 groups, so I need to get 2 more, all right? So a couple of things here. Here is the outside of the heart, and let's first look at this. So this, right there, is the parietal pericardium. It's a parietal pericardium, right?
So it's not adipose.
Well, there can be fat on it, but it's not adipose. It is not adipose.
And on the lab sheet it says cats and deer. Is that only? That's found everywhere.
No, and in us, you can actually see the dead person in a couple of weeks when we get to the cadaver lab. We'll see some of the remnants of that. Right, notice it's been cut off right here, so they are that. All right. So, Rebecca, you and your whoever is hunting out there. Remember, beggars can't be choosers, so I'll take whatever you give, right? But I always ask that. Sometimes save the pericardial sac or the parietal pericardium, all right? And again, remember, these now are your hearts right here, folks, all right? So you've got that, but you're also going to start with this today. So we're not going to cut this, that's already been cut, but each table, and I'm going to ask that you don't contaminate the two, because we're going to try and keep this for a while, right? But let's start off first with the parietal pericardium right there, okay? And notice there is some adipose on it already, okay? All right, so let's think of me, the 65-year-old fellow this morning or yesterday that was about to have the heart attack on Monday morning, right? So I'm 50%, right? I'm supposed to weigh 150 pounds, but I'm weighing 300 pounds. So what does that say? I'm 150 pounds overweight. Of what kind of overweight? Fat, adipose. So when am I going to have a lot more here? A lot more adipose right there, right? So that's a parietal pericardium. Then look at these deer hearts here, right? Notice not a lot of fat, not a lot of fat. But if we were to look at my heart, I'm as about to keel over here Monday morning, what am I going to see here on me if I'm so much overweight? A lot of adipose as well. And many times adipose here is indicative of obstructions on the coronary arteries. Okay? So, not good is what we are saying. But here these deer hearts, real neat, real healthy. Okay? So that's going to be the parietal pericardium. So we've got one for the exam here, so we're good. Right? Now, back to your groups, folks, what you're going to do is, you can start off with this. Okay? And what I want you to do is feel what this feels like. So that's my left ventricle right there, there's my right ventricle, and you can actually feel the difference in the muscle. You're going to feel the difference, because my left ventricle, this is all my left ventricle right here. All of this is my left ventricle right there. Much bigger, stronger than my right ventricle, because my right ventricle, and there's my pulmonary artery right there. That's my pulmonary artery right there, in the right ventricle, right? And where's the pulmonary artery going to? To the lungs. Lungs are there, right? This is my left ventricle, and that's my aorta, which again is real hard to see. You can stick your finger in there, and it goes down right there. So there's my left ventricle, and there's my finger, right? And it comes out, and it's going to the rest of the body, right? So you're feeling that, right? And then here, these are called the auricles. I'm really not interested in the auricles. Auricles is the flap of what is the chamber inside of it, the atrium, right? So we just say atrial auricle the same. And then there is my superior vena cava right there. So there's the superior vena cava right there, which comes in, okay? So there's a couple of things I want you to do today. I want you to feel the texture of the artery versus the vein. Because you're going to feel, it feels different.
A lot bigger.
Right? The veins are bigger than the arteries. But the arteries are a lot more elastic, a lot more muscular than my veins. So that'll set us up for when we get to the blood vessels in a couple of weeks down the road. Right? So that's my right atrium, and there's my left atrium. And most times the left atrium, we're not going to see the pulmonary veins because it's snipped off right there. Okay? Sometimes it has, again, depending on who has done the cutting for me, we can actually see the aorta and pulmonary artery sticking up a little bit. Okay? Right? So you're going to feel that, and you're going to feel the difference. This is extremely muscular, folks. This is extremely starting to, this is flaccid or less muscular, because remember, these guys are starting to break down. All right? I'm going to ask a couple of things here. That when you handle these, wash your hands when you're handling this. All right? And grab another tray, because what I don't want to do is try to contaminate. All right? And then you give these to me when you're done with that. Before you go back here, give that, because I'm going to wash these to put it back in the bucket. Because there's something here that's converting preservative to acetic acid. You're already smelling that vinegar smell. We've cleaned this slab, we've bleached it, we just don't know what it is. And this is like 3 or 4 years back. So what's happening now is it's starting to go. So I mean, I'm going to hold on to this here probably for 1 semester more, and then we're going to have to throw these hearts away. Right? And then these guys, and there's 2 buckets, and it's probably about 20 hearts in the freezer that we constantly replacing what's happening. Right? So yes, your buddies, when they hunt you, please, we collect, and we'll put it in the freezer. Right? So don't throw it away is what I'm saying. Because a lot of you guys don't eat the hearts, right? Your friends don't eat the hearts. They don't know what they're missing. No, be serious. By the time it gets here to me, it's already frozen. You know, maybe now I'll sneak one home, maybe. But delicious, absolutely delicious, absolutely delicious. Yeah, you see, you know, yes. I talk about people to the brains and this, and they just look at me like, sorry. I don't say anything. All right, so that is external anatomy, folks, right? And like I said, I'll get 2 more out of the bucket for you guys. Now, let's come over here, all right? And now we're going to go into the internal anatomy, right? And what you want to do is, and I've tried to match these things up. So what you're going to do is hold the heart in your hand like that, right? Let's see. Yeah, all right. Like that. Now, why do you need to hold it like that, or in your group, or lay it down like that, folks? Because this is three-dimensional. Three-dimensional. Because notice what have we done here? That is anterior, but when I flipped it over, what had happened to it? It became. So you're going to actually see me when I come and help you, I'm going to kind of look back here, because that's the front of this side, right? Okay, so now the first thing we need to do is to look at this and say, okay, well, no, there's no color coding. So you got to say, okay, well, what is left and what is right? What is left and what is right? So I'm going to go there and there. Okay, let's do a different color. Same heart. And now what do we see, folks? We see that this is thicker than that. That is thinner than that. So this is my left side, and that's my right side. And that's very, very important on the exams. Remember the quizzes are all black and white pictures. It comes out of your lab manual / textbook. Right? On the exam, it's very, very important that you figure out what is what, because now things will flow. Because if this is my right side, then that is my right atrium right there. And I'm always going to come. When I come and help you out here, I'm always going to look, where's the right atrium? I'm always going to start there and run in my mind the sequence of that. Right? Now, what is the sequence that I'm running through in my head? Running through in my head is there now is my right atrium, and there is my superior vena cava, or SVC, coming into that right atrium. Right? Now here is the right atrium over here. So there's my right atrium over there. Remember, I'm looking at 2, and notice I'm not seeing much over there, because where was most of my right atrium? Over there. Now, what are the 3 blood vessels associated with the right atrium? Superior vena cava, right? And again, here, you don't be shy. Squeamish, no, there's no time to be squeamish here. You stick your fingers, or if you want to use the skewers, you stick your skewers, and then there is my finger going through my inferior vena cava, right there. Okay, so now let's do that. So I'm going to say, okay, there's my inferior vena cava, so I'm just going to put the skewer in there, So that's where my inferior vena cava. And then I'm going to pull this open up. I'm going to open this up here, folks. Because when I open this up, okay, let's do this here. Let's see. All right. So we know that's the superior vena cava right there, yes? Because when I open this up like that, I'm going to see two holes. Two holes. The one on top is the inferior vena cava. Right? Right? Everybody sees that. So the one on top is the inferior vena cava. Yeah? And in fact, let's do this. Let's slide that skewer through there. Here we go. So now let's have a look. So I can see nicely where the skewer is coming through, right? The top. But then you also see the hole on the bottom. Yes? Everybody? And the hole on the bottom is the coronary sinus. The coronary sinus. In fact, what? Okay, yeah, we'll just do this. So there, I'm going to slide the skewer gently through the coronary sinus, and notice what is happening on the back side here. Jesse, you had asked where the coronary sinus is, and there you see the coronary sinus. So all of these veins are draining into that right there. Okay, so there you can see now, folks, on top is the inferior vena cava, the bottom is the coronary sinus. Everybody sees that? Oops. Okay, then folks, notice I'm just going to jiggle that skewer in the coronary sinus so you can actually see the coronary sinus right there. It's on the back of the heart right there. Yes? Yes, so you can see that right there. So if I push that skewer hard, it's actually going to come. Okay, there we go. It'll puncture the coronary sinus. We actually do that. So if you want to puncture that, you can. You can break right through it. All right, let's do that. So let's. So don't be shy with the skewers. When you're done with the skewers, don't throw the skewers away, because I will wash it so we can use it again. So those are all the veins draining into the right atrium, folks. Are there questions here on the 3 blood vessels now? All right, now before I forget, there are the bumpy muscles of my atria. And what are the bumpy muscles of the atria called? Those are called, and notice, there's the, Melanie, you had asked whether it is on the one side only, I believe. Well, it's on both sides. Whoops. And that is called the pectinate muscles. The pectinate muscles. Pectinate. Now what happens here, folks, that atrium, notice here, this atrium on these deer, right, so these deer are dead. We kill them and then we drain the blood out of them. So what happened with the hydrostatic pressure? What happened with the blood pressure in my animal? Done. So what happens is these atria just shrivels up like that, or they relax. When they relax like that, what happens to the folds of the pectinate muscles? They get bigger. All right. Now why am I pointing this up? Because next week when we cut open the cat blood vessels are full of paint. But there's still hydrostatic pressure in them, or blood pressure. So what we're going to see on this right atrium, folks, the right atrium is going to be that big on the cat. Okay. Because so what has happened? It had stretched out. So how much of the folds will we see of those pectinate muscles? Less. Less. Right? Okay, so there we see, so that's my right atrium, there's my left atrium. All right, we'll get to that in a minute. All right, so now, the right atrium, so now what we do, folks, is we go through, and there is my tricuspid valves. Now someone says, well, can I see the 3 flaps? I've tried many times, it's real hard to see all 3 of them, but there we can see 2 of them right there. And notice what color? The color is white, collagen, right? Tricuspid on the right hand side. Then there are my chordae tendineae. And of course, bigger is better. Here, bigger is better. So the bigger your heart, the better are going to be the structures, or bigger are going to be the structures, right? And then there's my right ventricle. But now remember, there's both. Because remember now, what is the blood vessel that runs out of the right ventricle? So there's my right ventricle, and there's my right ventricle. So there's my right ventricle, and I'm looking for the pulmonary artery. And on that side, there's nothing right there, right? Then what happens, now remember this is the way the heart is located, right? There's my right ventricle, right there and there. Now Tony, can you see this okay here? Come stand. You can stand right over there, just right. Our taller individuals, the back, or you guys can sit, pull up the chairs and sit so we can look over one another, right? Emma, can you see? Okay, right. Okay, so what we did, people, was we peeled it like that. So there's my right ventricle there, and there's my right ventricle there. And again, remember it's three-dimensional. So on this side, I can't find my pulmonary artery. But if I stick my finger in there, notice there I pull, and there's my trabeculum cornum on the right-hand side, right there. That's the big, running sideways. There's the big trabeculum cornum right there, right? There is, and notice, this heart is bigger than that one, but there's a smaller trabeculum cornum, right? Okay? Now, folks, I'm going to stick my finger in there. Notice where my finger's coming out, right there. There's my pulmonary artery. Right there. But remember, my pulmonary artery is in front. There's the front. So there's my pulmonary artery right there. Okay? Remember, I'm kind of looking on the back of this, right? It's flipped around. So make sure you understand that, right? So there's my pulmonary artery, and it's your heart. You can do what you want to with that. You cut that open, because now we want to see the pulmonary semilunar valves down in there. So there are the pulmonary semilunar valves, right there. Right? Semi, like half moons. And notice there are no valves on that. They work on hydrostatic pressure, folks. Absolutely amazing. That half moon shape like that, collagen, and the back pressure of water, or blood in this case, just seals them off. Right there like that. Yeah, so what happens is, notice you never hear of someone needing to replace the semilunar valves. The AV valves show they're big also, look, it's also bigger, but just the way they are structured, right? Engineering-wise, pretty amazing engineering-wise, right? So that's a pulmonary artery coming out of the right ventricle, right? So now we're at the lungs. Now we come back, and blood comes back into the left atrium. There's my left atrium, and there is where the pulmonary vein would have been. Coming into the left atrium right there, or the veins, right? There's two pairs come from the lungs on the left and the right hand side. Alright? So there is now my bicuspid valve right there, or the mitral valve. There are the chordae tendineae again. And notice the bumpy muscle that the chordae tendineae runs onto, that is my papillary muscles. So you're always looking, papillary bumpy muscle is the chordae tendineae coming off of it, papillary muscle, right? If there is no chordae tendineae coming off of it, then what? Bumpy muscle. Trabeculum cornum, right? So on the exam, alright, so you fast forward to the exam in 2 weeks' time, next one another. I say, what are the names of the muscles? You're going to say, okay, well, what is the point of reference? What are the relationships? That one has chordae tendineae, so that muscle is called a papillary muscle. That one, sorry, there are no chordae tendineae, so that is a trabeculum cornum. Chances are, I'm probably going to ask you the big one right there. Oops, on the right-hand side. No funny stuff right there. So every right ventricle that we look at, folks, is going to have that running sideways, perpendicular to the length of the muscle. And as we had said, trabeculum, beam-like support. So that just holds that, so that that muscle doesn't stretch all that way. Kind of pulls it back in, right there. But that's a trabeculum cornum, and that is a trabeculum cornum. Why? No chordae tendineae. Right? And then in my atrium, it's the pectinate muscle. right there. All right? Okay, so now we are in the left ventricle, right? So there's my left ventricle. Muscle thicker, myocardium thicker than right side. And now we come up. So now we come up, and there is my aorta right there. All right, so let's just cut this open right here. So that is my aorta. We're not worried about the branches today. All right, well, actually, let me just cut it off right there, because people are going to be confused about the branches. We're not going to worry about the branches today, the brachiocephalic, the carotid, the subclavians. We're going to hold on to that on the cat. All right, so there is my aorta, and there are my aortic semilunar valves right there. All right, now remember what I said. I said for you to look above the aortic semilunar valves for the openings of... All right, so there we go. So notice, that's the right side, people, and there's my left side. So there's my aorta right there. There's the aorta, and there are the openings to my coronary arteries right there and right there. So there you can see the openings of the coronary arteries right there. The coronary arteries, they run in a circuit. The main branches run in a circle like that around the heart, and then we're going to have branches coming down. So there's the openings of the coronary arteries above the aortic